So I am in my robe. I am in bad shape, but I haven't been healthy lately for a lot of reasons. But we'll explain that later. Right now, I want to get this on record as quick as possible. That fight between Blachowicz and Adesanya was great, and Blachowicz was totally in charge, although he wasn't really the one making all the feints. He was biting on all the feints, but every time he outstruck Israel. I mean, yeah, he did lose a round, but in those first rounds where Izzy was beat, he was landing his strikes when they were flashy. But the entire first round, Rogan and DC and Anik were bantering about stuff while freaking Jan slipped in and landed to the body. Couple of big ass kicks to the side of the body, and they totally ignored that as they were telling Izzy stories. And then the second round, it was similar. And then they go to the strikes. They said a few times, "Oh, Israel's outlanded him," and then they go to the strikes landed, and it's this kind. Oh well, gee, well it could be that. And then they talk the same BS the third round, but maybe give Jan a bit of a chance. And then even while he's down on top of him, Joe started saying so, but they're still making excuses for Izzy with his weight. And then, oh, well, at the end of it, it was, well, he didn't put on the weight because it was only a one-off. But you're still fighting for the damned title. So you would expect, if you're fighting for the title, that it's not a one-off, and you were going to want to control the division for a while there too. That was the plan, because what other middleweights are there really for him at this point? They totally peed all over Jan this whole fight. And that's disgusting to me. Even afterward, they're like, Joe says, imagine if it was a real wrestler like John Jones. Like Jan isn't a real wrestler. Like Jan doesn't have a black belt in BJJ, which is why he was able to stay on top of Izzy when Izzy had 5 straight weeks of BJJ training recently, doing nothing but that. And oh, he was talking such hot crap about how he was, let's just say in the gym, he was doing better than those of higher belts, is what he was insinuating. We know that. We know how cocky Izzy is. And that's a lot of the reason that I love him for it. But right now, I am so pissed off as to how horrible the commentary is. It's usually like, it's bad, but I want to know what the narrative is that they are laying on these people that are watching UFC besides me, because me and probably everybody else who watches this video who bothers to seek out MMA stuff, you guys can think for yourselves. I'm 100% sure of that. And you probably get just as sick as I do listening to the constructed. I mean, DC's a damn good analyst because he was a double champion, for crying out loud, but he knows what the network wants him to say. He knows what the UFC wants him to say when they're really pushing for Adesanya. And were they really questioning that he could have won all 3 of those first rounds with his little thump? There was one time where he caught Jan good and he got schooled, and I thought he might have been spun for a while. Yeah, that counts. But for crying out loud, Jan was landing them, but just a lot more sloppily. And I'm not one of those guys that'll do a frame-by-frame analysis, but I could. And it was absolutely insane. Izzy took so much more damage than Jan that the scores reflected it. When I heard 45-49, I was, yeah, 2 of those, bing. And then oh, goodness gracious, we thought the judges were playing along with us because we were saying our story while Jan was beating the piss out of him in the first round. We were talking about how good Israel was against other guys. We thought the judges heard that. Man, you guys freaking suck. I just want to get this up for the record. I'm sorry about my appearance and everything. No way they're monetizing this. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.